So it's September here in the subtropics in southeast Queensland, Australia, and I thought I'd do a bit of a tour and just show you how everything is growing here in our veggie patch. If you're new here, I'm Nikki and I'm on a mission to grow as much food as I can on a regular suburban block. So we plant one bed a month. We have around 13 beds ranging from wicking beds to just regular raised beds. We are about to set up our aquaponics, which you might be able to see here. It's been out of action for a little while, but it's really good over summer when it gets really, really hot. So really on rotation, we have about 4 beds of staple crops, and then we have a lot of things that take a little bit longer in the other beds. So as you can see, I've got a bit of garlic going on here, and that's about to come out. So I'm going to have a lot of beds freed up in the next couple of weeks. This year I am on a bit of a mission to get more fruit trees in because that's probably one of our biggest grocery expenses. I think we've got our veggies mostly covered. So I have ordered a peach cot from Dailies, which hopefully will be here October, November. And I'm going to put in a grove of citrus trees along our side fence, which is kind of an area which I think most people have, which just gets totally underutilized. The other fruit trees that we have is banana trees. So we've got a fair few of those. At the moment, we've got 2 that are putting fruit. We have a mulberry tree, which is absolutely loaded right now. And we have a fruit salad tree, which is a multi-grafted stone fruit tree, which has peach, nectarine and plums, which is flowering now. And we did pick one of the peaches not that long ago from when it flowered back in autumn. We have a few things that aren't really doing anything, like there's the pomegranate tree, which is on its last threat of its life. We did have a fig tree, but it didn't produce any fruit. So we pulled it out of the ground and basically took cuttings, and now we've got them growing in pots. All of our blueberries are growing in pots, and they do pretty well in pots because we do have the clay soil. I do have an avocado that I want to plant, but I'm still a little bit reluctant because I'm notoriously bad at killing them. So I have bought a raised bed for the avocado, which I'm going to put in our chicken area, and I just need to get fencing stuff to put around it. We also have pawpaw, which is looking a bit sad, and dragon fruit, which is probably one of our most prolific fruiting trees. I guess you would call it a cactus, but between the bananas and the dragon fruit, they produce the most for us. But it will be interesting to see how we go with the citrus. So first I'll show you all of our regular garden beds and their progress and what we're up to. So this here is our backyard. So if you followed me for a while, you know that this used to be raised garden beds here, and we've pulled those all out because of the the roots were coming in and just sucking it dry. So we're moving this area to just wicking beds and aquaponics. So this is the layout so far. We've got 6 grow beds. We'll have 2 fish tanks and a filter here. And in the front of that, we are planning on doing a pond, which will be the sump, which all the water flows through and then circulates back through. So that is the plan for this area. We'll see how we go, how long it takes. But in the back here, I have some wicking beds, which I'll show you now. So this wicking bed was the one that we were having issues with. I did actually just give it some slow release fertilizer, and it has helped it immensely. We are getting loads of greens from here, lots of the potted peas. We've harvested a lot of the broccoli heads, and now we're just waiting for side shoots, and we should be getting the carrots and beetroots soon. Next to that wicking bed, I have another one which the goal was onions, and I interplanted beetroots. But as you can see, the beetroots are taking over. I pulled a few out, but a lot of them aren't forming, so I probably need to thin them out a little bit. In here as well, I've also had a self-seeded tomato, which I think is a Rapunzel. It was one that I bought as a seedling last year when all of mine died and I couldn't have been bothered raising via seed. I'm just training it kind of flat to this trellis here, and I'm actually really liking the way that it's going. It did sort of have a little bit of yellowing leaves, so I've just given it a little bit of extra fertilizer just to give it that boost, but I'll see what it does. As for the onions, I'm not really sure if they're going to do anything. I still have issues with those greenhouse cockroaches that they really love onions. So a lot of the spring onions that I've planted out, they've been snipping off. So I'm actually surprised that they're doing okay in here. But we'll see. I might just have to cull out some of the beetroots to give them a bit of time to grow. So whoever told me to use a beer trap, I've tried that. I might need to use a stout beer, not a pale ale. So this is my little corner bed here in the backyard, which I've converted to a flower bed. This is the only one that we haven't converted to a wicking bed, so it does really drain all of the resources in the bed quite quickly. It dries out very quickly, so tree roots are still in here. The beans that I sowed, you can see these here are strike green beans. They were all my backup green beans from my August bed planting, so I've just put them on the side. We've got some zinnia seedlings popping up, and the cosmos, all the other ones were planted as seedlings. So it's doing pretty well so far. I'm thinking I want to get some sunflowers in here as well, so I might do that in the next few weeks. We also made some cute little flower baskets just to bring a bit of colour to this backspace. We did have a trellis along here. I'm not sure if you've noticed that that's missing. I've taken it down. It gets really hot in this corner in summer, so just having these little hanging baskets with a bit of green will probably make a little bit of a difference. I am considering painting this fence just to make it look a bit nicer. It's 7 years old now, so probably needs a bit of a upgrade, but yeah, I do love the look of the little hanging baskets. It reminds me of Canada and England, the Northern Hemisphere. The strawberry bed is doing pretty well. If you're wondering what these little fences are along here, that's to stop the dog jumping up in there. She has a sweet tooth. I don't get any strawberries. She's getting them all. She knows which ones are ripe now. So we're not getting any strawberries. It's the best strawberry season we've had in a while, and she's been getting them all. So that's what this pot here is as well, is to stop her from jumping up in between. But the strawberries in the wicking bed is doing really well. I do have a parsley over here, which is going to seed. It's a couple of years old. Last year, when it did go to seed, I just chopped it right back and it lasted all winter. So if you're having problems with flat leaf parsley in the subtropics, just going straight to seed, I recommend if you want to keep harvesting from it, just cut those seed heads off. But they are really, really good flowers, beneficial flowers for your veggie patch. They attract some really good beneficial insects. So if you've got some parsley that you can let to seed, I recommend it, and then you will never need to plant parsley ever again if you do. Out in my front garden, I have loads of parsley just popping up in my path, so I don't think I'll need to plant it again for a little while. So this is one of our garlic beds. It is doing pretty well. We had an aphid infestation. If you look back to my last tour video, I show you how I dealt with that. These ones are doing pretty well. I have actually harvested some already in one of the front gardens, but I'm just waiting for half of the leaves to die off before I pull the lot out. So I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks left before we pull these out. These are a subtropical variety. They're not like your standard garlic. They have a faster growing span. So usually I plant on the equinox, so around late March, and then I harvest late August to early September, depending on how they're growing. So I have had any that have sort of fallen all the way over, I have just pulled out, just because I know once they've fallen over, that's it, then they're not going to do anything. And what will happen is the cloves will actually start falling off, and you'll have to use those ones straight away. They won't store, and you won't be able to save them for seed next year as well. I'm really happy with how these have grown this year, but we will see, fingers crossed, when they come out how big they are. Now our August bed is still going slow. I did a pH test on it and it is neutral around. If anything, it's sort of more acidic. So I thought with the mushroom compost it would be a little bit alkaline. I'm just going to keep fertilizing this. I do have a feeling that it's just a little bit too wet. So when I did the soil test, the soil felt really, really damp. So I have just checked the drainage holes and there was a little bit of a blockage in there. So I'm just going to lay off the water on this. Obviously rain is not helping, but lay off the water on this and see how we go. So this is the garlic on the other side of the veg pot. It's still about the same as the wicking bed. It still needs a couple more weeks, I do believe. I will just keep an eye on it. So this is our front garden. This is probably the most productive area, particularly in winter, because it does get full sun. We've got 8 raised beds out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. All in differing sizes. So we've got 2 large ones, 2 medium-sized ones, and 4 little mini ones. We've also got a mulberry tree that had a massive cutback last year, so the fruit on this is quite minimal. A finger lime, a pomegranate tree, which always gets a big haircut because it shades the area too much in winter. There is a passion fruit vine that usually climbs up this fence, but I give it a really good cut back after it has finished fruiting in winter. And the fruit salad tree, which is multi-grafted peach, nectarine and plum. We also have this massive dragon fruit, which is a pink skin, white flesh dragon fruit. It is very prolific and produces massive fruit. So everywhere that it's sort of going to hang down, we will expect to see flowers. That's the trick with it. If it's got somewhere to climb along, it will just keep climbing. But if you have it hang over, that's where it will produce the fruit. This bed here is one that I've just planted out, so not much has poked up yet. I am sort of planting around obstacles. So I have harvested, since I planted that video out, I have harvested the broccoli and one of the daikons out of here. I will be letting the calendula stay there forever, but I do have, there's still another broccoli there. I think it might be a bit late. I might just pull that out. I've got the dill there, which I'll probably pull out soon anyway. I've got heaps of dill going to seed at the moment. On the other side here, I didn't show you guys this while I was planting it, but I was complaining about those cockroaches eating those seeds, but they didn't. They must have been in different spots from where I planted them. So I do have all of my Madagascar climbing beans. So I am looking forward to them taking over this trellis, which has seen better days. I was just looking at that, look at the rust. Oh, it's gonna fall apart. This is just one of those $20 arches from Bunnings. I got 2 and I've cable tied it together, and then I've put over some mesh that we had lying around. I will one day get a proper galvanized one, but that's what I did for that one. Now the beds that I planted out in May, I'm just letting them go wild. Like, this is coriander going to seed, and it's why I really love it. There are so many beneficial insects in it at the moment. You can see little wasps, little ladybug larvae. It is just such a good thing to let to go seed in the garden. I know a lot of people get angry about it because they like coriander. I don't like coriander. I just grow it for the flowers because it's such a good beneficial flower. There is a cauliflower in here. Maybe. Oh, I don't think it's going to do anything. It is just way too late for them here for us. It's just going to get too hot and bolt to seed. Still getting a few of the overplanted radish. Some aren't really doing much, but I mean, I'm surprised that I got any, to be honest, the way that the amount of seeds that germinated when I thought that they were all done. So my July staple bed, I pulled a lot out of here. Just recently, I've just gotten that last lettuce that was over in that corner. I've also harvested a fennel, which was delicious. We are now getting loads and loads of these Oregon sugar snow peas. I just ate one then. They are so sweet, so delicious. I'm pretty happy with the tomato cage for this. I don't think it's going to get any taller, but if it does, it's got nowhere to go. But it works pretty well. I think I will do this next year for my sugar snaps as well. I just pulled the last of the kohlrabi out of here. Yesterday, I still got some Swiss chard. I still think I've got mite issues. I probably do need to get in the predatory mites to keep that under control. Kale's doing good. I'm just letting this freckled lettuce go to seed. And I'll probably put my eggplant, maybe a few capsicums in this bed once that has all finished up. Now this bed's the one that we planted out back in April. We had loads of problems with those greenhouse cockroaches eating everything. I'm just letting everything in here go to seed now, and once that's gone to seed, I will turn this bed over, maybe do a green cover crop, see how we go. So I pulled all of the garlic out of this bed. It was half died back, ready to come out. Pretty happy with the overall harvest of it. They were on the smaller size, which this bed was the one that I planted very close together. This is one of the garlic beds. This one's getting close. I think probably, depending on the rain situation, I'll probably pull this out maybe within a week, because you can see how they're sort of starting to fall over. They're getting close. I pulled out this bed that had my honeybee cherry tomato. You can see I've left some. I have to pick those up for fruit fly reasons. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in here. Probably sweet potato. So the potatoes, the ones that we planted out mid-August, are just sprouting. They're a little bit slow. And the ones that we planted back in July, they're starting to go a little bit yellow now. So I'm wondering if they're getting close to harvest time. So I'll let them die fully back. They're still looking pretty good. That really hot day that we had a couple of weeks ago, I didn't water them and they were looking a bit droopy. So ever since then, they've started to go a little bit yellow. So I'm hoping that I haven't ruined them. So the potato tower, the top potato is definitely sprouted. I think this one is from the second level. I can't see any from the very first level. If we go around the back, there's a couple of decent ones from that second level popping out as well. I don't know. I feel like it was a mistake, but we'll see how it goes. So the pineapple slash flower bed is doing okay. All of the pineapples, they didn't really get any nicer looking from when they were neglected in pots. So yeah, we'll see. I've got lettuce that's self-seeded here. I'm just going to let it seed again. But yeah, it's kind of pretty. I hope the pineapples kick into gear soon. A few pineapples that I left in pots are starting to flower. So these were some of the bigger ones that I thought I'll just leave those in the pots that they were in. So this one should be fruiting for summer. So the vertical fence of pineapples, I might get one from here. I am thinking of moving these. I really do need to pull them all out and repot. There's heaps of weeds and stuff in here. But yeah, we should get a couple from this area this year as well. They did really well on this fence last year. I think we got about 3 pineapples. So that one up there is a new one, like the mother and the pup. That one's a new one, mother and a pup. I think that one there's a mother and a pup. So yeah, they did really well here. The ones up the top get a bit more sunburnt, so definitely that western sun gives them a bit of a cooking. To be fair, I don't water these ever, so they're just surviving on neglect. So we're repurposing our old raised beds. We're going to make some raised beds for our citrus trees to grow in along the fence line. So these are all sort of prepped and ready to go for that job. I'm still picking these flowers off. This is the lime tree. Since I've done it with the lemon tree, they've got new shoots. Since I repotted this one because it didn't look real good. It actually looks like they're going to flower too. This is the Cara orange. We'll get these in the ground hopefully next week. So this is the area that I'm thinking of doing our citrus grove. I want an espalier along the fence here. I am just trying to decide if I attach a big sheet of weld mesh onto the fence for espaliering or doing wire cables. If you've ever done an espalier on a citrus tree, I would really love to know what you did and what works. I have seen people do fans. I have seen people do it along the string, so just training those one branches along. But yeah, I'd love to know any tips, any tricks, any problems, any concerns. Please let me know in the comments. So the mulberry tree is loaded with fruit, but we are getting fruit flies stinging the fruit, which I'm not a fan of. I'm going to have to sit there and pick up all of the berries that have dropped on the ground, otherwise I'm going to have a major fruit fly problem. I never would have thought that they would sting mulberries, but I have video evidence of them doing it. So, but yeah, it is like full. It's so heavy with fruit that we have to duck to walk through this area now. So I'm also experimenting with a few different things of what I can grow under the trees. I've got my comfrey. This gets trampled because the dog's in here all the time. I've got some calendula up the back. There's some cornflowers, there's salvias, there's garlic chives. I've got a little bit of sweet Alice here. There's lemon balm. I use a lot of lemon balm. It hasn't taken over yet. I cut it back fairly regularly. There's clary sage, there's some wormwood and aloe vera up the back there. So a few little things. I did have, I think, some snapdragons. They didn't survive, but that could have been from the puppy. I would like to scatter some flower seeds under here as well, but if you're looking for ideas of what to plant under mulberry trees, these are doing okay so far. It will be a different story come summer because they will probably just dry out. This area will dry out completely. That's one of the ladyfinger bunches of bananas. Over there, you can't really see it because of that leaf, but there's the flower for it. Normally we cut off the flowers and then put a bag over it, but they're so high. I don't even think we could get up with them with a ladder, so that's it. The pawpaw as well, which is in front here, we've got some issues. There's some, I don't know if you can see that, but there's some fungus issue. I think the only really way to treat that is with copper spray, which I don't really want to do. One thing that I am having thoughts about is our banana suckers. Normally we have 2 baby suckers on each plant when they're flowering. This one I think's only got this one here. That one's got one, and you can see over in the back there, that's another one, but it looks like the chickens are just annihilating it. So I think I'm going to just build a little bit of a temporary fence just to put around it to get those suckers up, because I am worried that once those big bananas have been harvested, we have to cut down that whole tree. Once we've pulled down the fruit, we're not going to have much in the way of new plants to replace it. So that might be a measure. I don't want to take them away from this area because it's nice and shady, but I do want to get more bananas. I did give my coffee beans a bit of a trim. They used to be like up to there, so they've been chopped down to the fence height. They were just getting too hard to harvest the beans up top. So I had a question about my greenhouse. It is literally a cube of weld mesh. There is just that one supporting beam here with a T intersection and that's been slammed into the ground. I'll show you how it's clipped to the fence. So it's just clipped to the fence using these little pieces. It is very simple. If you guys want me to do a bit more of a tour, just let me know. I'll give you the full tour. I do plan on putting a roof over the top just so I can do more hydroponic in here, and I can also not worry about seedlings when it rains. So the shade cloth itself is only 30%. I wanted this one to be predominantly for growing veggies that I would plant out, and it has worked really well. I don't have to harden off my seedlings. They can go straight in the ground, unlike if I was to buy it from, for example, a nursery which has had a bit more protection. I did have to go to a specialized shade cloth place to get this UV rating. I think most of the hardware stores start up from 50%. So all the babies in the greenhouse are doing well, but I did want to show you, look, the lettuce came really good. I don't know if you saw that last video, but amazing what hydroponic chemicals can do because these were looking really yellow and now they're pretty lush. So the little roots are sort of coming out. So it just basically sits in water, and the water, as the plants take up the water, the levels go down, and then the idea is by the time the plant's finished, there's no water left in it. I also have my little auto pot, and last year I had capsicums. Just popped in some cucumber seeds, and I'm just going to get them to grow up inside the greenhouse here. See how they do. There's some girls behind. They want those seeds. Look at them. Hope you enjoyed that tour. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.